Since I know that people be watching this stuff, man, we might as well jump around some topics. Usually I talk about some books. This is the most common one because it's not my Christian stuff. Because I don't like. I know that some people don't like this Christian stuff. They get offended. But one of my other better ideas that I've come up with is when I was getting divorced and we were selling the house, I was so fed up with paying high mortgage and then all the fees associated with home ownership, right? Because we bought a house and the mortgage was high and it was plus other bills. And so after that, after the divorce, I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to pay rent. Let me just consider being homeless, right? Or live out in nature or camp or just let's think outside the box of how it could be more comfortable should one be um, okay with not living in a big beautiful house with all the rooms and all the bells and whistles, right? Because hey, how do we spend our time? We usually go to work, then we can come home, we eat, we sit and veg, look at the device, right? And then we take a shower, we go to sleep, we wake up, we look at the device, we eat, then we go to work, then we come back, come home, we sit down, look at the device. And so if we were to exclude this $4,000 a month of bills for all sorts of rent just for you to have a nice place to sit between work, right? Or a nice place to lay your head and have all your shit that's kind of financed and this and that. So anyways, at some point we're concluding that not a lot of people like paying for rent, right? And then to a large degree now, not a lot of people can afford to pay for rent. And so one of my better ideas was this homeless solution, and it's a partial solution to local homelessness because the the condition of people being homeless is pretty vast, right? Some of it's drug related, some of it's domestic violence related, some people lost their jobs, some people have never had their jobs, some people have mental illness, some people are just going through between this misfortunate events, some people enjoy the outdoors, some people are disabled veterans. So aside from like a couple like self-caused willing to be homeless situations, it seems like a lot of people are just down on their luck, right? And yet we spend a lot of time judging these people who are kind of unfortunate. It says something kind of crappy about ourselves when we do that, which is why should we choose to, you know how we went through this kick of trying to be socially aware of not calling retards and or gays gay or transsexuals. I don't know. There was a time where we're understanding that there are some derogatory terms towards people who are what they are, right? Or who have no way of fixing what they are, right? So the disabilities, right? We don't say that dude's a vegetable or we just say like he's disabled. We try to be kind of courteous. So homeless is almost a courteous way, but we have, and some people are like house dislodged, whatever the fuck, right? What did Kamala Harris said? She said the burden of the undone from the burden of what was, or something like that. Anyways, so we tried to come up with these fancy terms and douchebag stuff, but at the end of the day, homelessness is like a it's a problem, it's a nuisance, but b it's also might not be like the worst thing, right? So This I am I'm kind of drafting up a thing, right? It's already 5 minutes into an introduction. Villages of Hope. In a city known for its innovation and cultural richness, it's tragic that so many of our neighbors are still living without the basic dignity of shelter. As the founder of lxmnv.com, a Seattle based publication focused on community progress and innovation, I present a bold and compassionate proposal to address homelessness with creativity, sustainability, and faith. We'll call it Recycled Homes for Hope or Villages of Hope. This initiative blends eco conscious construction, spiritual mentorship, and community activation to provide not only housing, but purpose, healing, and dignity. Right? So, the person who is unable to keep the job, the person who's on drugs, um, they need some healing, some direction, a better purpose, right? Because the people who numb themselves to life, who drink away, they're trying to escape something, and so, or trying to live a different reality than they are when they're sober. And so men need a purpose, men need directions, men need something to build, something to work for, something to be proud of, right? And so if we were to sprinkle in some of this, not only ALX proverbs, but the idea of living a good life, and break it down to some key essential healing discussions that also somehow are hinged on Christian concepts, because only in Christianity are we instructed to focus on love, peace, gentleness, kindness, long suffering, hard work, and honoring your parents, and being respectful of your neighbors. So it seems like it has probably some of the best foundational beliefs, right? As far as like versus not having any beliefs, right? But also, like, should we compare some religions? And not all religions cover the perks of good and evil, but we can definitely feel the effects of good and evil, right? And I feel like the Bible discusses those very well. It addresses how people behave, it addresses how nations fall and rise, who has portrayed some great characteristics as a human, and then who has shown some despicable qualities as a human, and why their civilization and their people did not carry on as far as being in the future, right? Or had a small mention in history or something. So, yes, I think in order to truly heal, because without God, without being connected to the source, to the tree, if a branch is cut off from a tree, it's dead, right? It goes on the ground. It might still be green for a little bit, but it's dead. No further nutrients can go into it unless you pick it back up and then you tie it back into the tree, or you plant a new tree, right? You got to put it in some water, let it grow some roots, then you can plant it and then the tree becomes. But ideally, you want to pick up the branch and splice it back into the tree, however hard on or unrealistic that process may be. So I believe, and this is my opinions, right? And in order for me to present this homeless solution, it's hinged on the love of Jesus Christ, because that has healed me, but it also illuminated the path forward. It didn't just tell me that there's stuff out of my control and that I need to be a better person and stop doing drugs. It gave me a way out. It gave me a relief. It soothed my soul. It watered the dryness of my life, you know? So that's why I like the Bible stuff. But I also do some dumb stuff. And there's things called grace, right? And the fact that it's through grace that I can be saved. That's a cool concept. Anyways, so if we are extended this grace, then by default, we should extend as much grace to other people as possible. And so, in order for these selfless villages to thrive, I think some worthwhile pastors have to be in charge, right? And it's a way for church to solve this homeless issue, right? If we're if the actual healers who are in charge of leading and healing their flocks can also heal the freaking sick in their community by administering them a better optimistic word, giving them an opportunity, giving them a spot for shelter. And what kind of shelter, right? Villages of Hope are sustainable, artistically designed micro communities built from recycled and repurposed materials. These villages are anchored by Christian principles of love, accountability, and restoration, but welcome collaboration from anyone aligned with the mission of hope. So the government loves to dip their hands in, right? There's a lot of government workers, there's a lot of social workers, there's a lot of fucking smart guys who think they have all this and that. But what we are finding out that because God is not a part of their solution is not complete. That's the whole big hinge, is because people are naturally selfish unless they know otherwise, then every attempt to be helpful is somehow selfish, right? Should I not know grace? Should I not know generosity? Should I not know mercy and forgiveness and abundance? Then when I give somebody a gift, I need something in return. It's a motherfucking transaction. It's not a gift. What you mean? Who gives out free shit? Well, in Christian, there's a lot of free gifts, right? There's matter of fact, you could just ask God for a good life, and he might just consider just that, right? So, ask and you will be given, seek and you will find. So it's not a transaction, right? So if we have some good-hearted leadership, well-seasoned, earned, good-hearted Christian leadership in charge of some of housing the homeless and healing the sick and opening the eyes of the blind, right, in their very community, then I think that could be a possible good solution. And so not trusting the message of just any pastor, I think my book I Am Phoenix is great. I think my book Born from Fire is meant to also supplement this solution, right? It's not just like, oh, let's give them housing or whatever. It's let's build villages where the center of attention is restoration and not leaving the weak behind, right? Because the drug addicts are what, they're mentally weak, so they have to go and kind of slow down our progress, right? If we were to think about it that way. I'm also a drug addict of sorts. I like my coffee, I like my sugar, I like my weed, I like my vape, I like my a lot of stuff. So but the the true path to healing is reconnecting to the sovereign inside of you, but also to the maker, so that you might consider the instructions for life that the Bible offers us, right? Because usually most Christians that follow seem to be doing relatively well, right? They're kind of richish, their family stays together, their divorce rate is relatively low, they're good with their money, they're great with their family, they're great at their job. It's just there's something about having an optimistic perspective that allows you to pass it out, to multiply it, and have people around you benefit from that, right? Are sustainable, artistically designed micro communities built from recycled and repurposed materials. The theme, right? Restoration, recycled, repurposed materials. Old trailers, old shipping containers, old boats, old airplanes, even just big industrial scrap metal that we can local artists can come together and for a good price. Because the thing about doing any kind of government work is the contractors want fucking millions and billions and trillions of dollars to put up a little fucking a bathroom at a park, right? As long as the government pays for it, it's all you can eat buffet for these motherfuckers. So and the design might stand for like 10, 15 years, but it's not cool, it's not classy, it doesn't speak art, it just speaks the government got ripped off, right? Somebody ate really big off taxpayer dollars, right? Because they got a good relationship with them. Well, but if the local artists were to get involved and show some pride in their local communities and then work with architects, builders to come together and make this beautiful scrap of metal house 20 different families and have a big lobby where people can come and gather and not only have vending machines but hold classes and have partial jobs to encourage people to get reintroduced to being responsible and having some dignity about yourself, right? It's not just give these homeless people a shelter, it's teach them how to be people, how to be adults, teach them the responsibility, give them some dignity, give them something to do, give them a good result and a net so that they can kind of get their shit together, right? So yes, I think a ferry turned into it could even be on the water, or we can bring that shit into the middle of the city and then build some kind of structures around it and then allow families and individuals to live in it, right? Or these old abandoned malls, those could be turned into apartment complex. I saw that as somebody commented that or something. It was like, why don't we turn these old shut down malls into apartment complexes with stores and it'll just be horizontal. That sounds pretty cool, right? Well, we can also have, yes, it could be like an apartment complex, but then in that we can also have a homeless program or a needy people program, right? So I'm sure we're doing it, but the thing is, what we're doing seems kind of selfish. We've taken out the love for each other and we've replaced it with the criteria. You don't meet the criteria. We don't have the resources. Everybody's selfish, you know, because everybody's trying to rip the government off and we're forgetting that yes, the world is evil, but that's why Christians have a mission. That's why they have a calling. That's why they have a burden. That's why when we grow up and go to Sunday school, we learn fucking virtues and values and things like honesty and kindness and sharing and generosity and work hard and respect your parents, right? So that when we go out into the world, these ideas are not just dead historic fucking things that humans forgot about, right? It's these values that give us humans further depth. So if we were to all be respectful towards each other, I mean, what kind of city do you think would be living in, right? High trust societies. Some cities are that, but it takes money to go there. The reason why in some cities you can leave your car unlocked or your garage door open all night long and nobody comes and mess with it is because of the price tag sometimes, right? You got to have money to be in that community and and when you got money, you ain't really stealing. But so there's pros and cons to having poor people around you, but the thing we do with poor people is we try to educate them. We try to help them up because uh, how fun would it be to live in a community full of criminals? And they're criminals because they're hungry. They're criminals because it's petty crime that's very opportunistic and they just don't have anything better to do. But they also don't have the awareness to go and do better, right? But at the same time, they could go try to rob a grandma for her groceries and her car. They could go and play football with their buddies, right? Or in college, or they could go chase girls, or they could try to go build a car or a mini bike and go on a tour or a hike in the mountains somewhere. There's a lot of stuff that we can do, but sometimes people are just not aware of other options. And so this homeless solution, this might be a longer video. I'll break it up into a couple minute clips anyways. But I came up with this homeless solution. So we take local artists, we take some recycled big items, then we splice together. We have them create some housing situation, but central to this, we need a community hub so that people, like, the reason why started with what do we do in our spare time is we look at our device and we need a place to pass out, right? Well, so in this villages, a person just needs some decent amount of space to relax and set down his stuff and then sleep safely where nobody can mess with him, right? Or try to attack him, her. But the community room is where the interactions and communication does happen. So hopefully entrepreneurship is discussed. Hopefully there is some kind of small community farm that people can be a part of, and just a way for these residents, these temporary residents, right, to live in a cool community. Because if these artists design these masterpieces that will look cool 200 years from now, 400 years from now, and have their names on it, then imagine putting homeless people into pieces of art and offering them a beautiful message of restoration and an opportunity to get their shit together. I think that would, I mean, everybody would want to be homeless, but then we would also consider what it is to what it is truly like to assist one another, right? If we were to give even just the better half of our effort towards a solution instead of just the very last, after I've procrastinated for 99% of the assignment and then the assignment is due tomorrow, let me just fucking wing it and give it my best 10%, right? I feel like that's how we're treating this homeless solution, but also some of these fucking people problems. Like, we know what we can do, we know what we need to do better, and then we just choose to do everything but. And so this is just part of the solution. Oh, and my computer ran out. So, yes, we can save some money by having local artists put their name on some beautiful housing, and then that housing will be intent to help the needy to get their stuff together and have a safe place, so that within 3 to 6 months they can rejoin the community, and with dignity and a sense of responsibility, not like this overwhelming fucking threat of bills will choke you back to death, and that's the reason why I was trying to escape this hellhole anyway. But yes, a partial solution is that Christians get involved in helping people instead of just being these selfish, timid churchgoers that are are like want to see the Holy Spirit on a Sunday or feel him in a song, right? It's like, I don't know. I feel like if you ain't putting in for work for God, you don't get instant Holy Spirit on Sundays, bro. Like, I get it, you need healing, go get you some, but as far as like what is properly dispensed, like, put in some work. Like, earn some Holy Spirit about yourself, you know? It's when we do good things for other people is when that Christian stuff actually moves. If we're just sitting in the pew and have the fucking idiot tell us what this Bible stuff means, and we're like, oh, okay, cool, uh okay, it's over, nice, the music was cool, I raised my hands, but I forgot what the rest was, right? Some of these pastors don't give us any meat and potatoes for our faith. They just give us the general message: you're a sinner, repent, bring a friend, tithe, right? So it's like, what about like Christian stuff 102? What about actual application of this Christian stuff into life? What if we apply some of this Christian stuff and some good leadership qualities to actual government leadership? What if we run things differently? Just a little bit, right? We don't have to completely toss everything up in the air. But as far as we know, people are very cannibalistic, people are very predatory. People will kill you and cover their tracks and blame you for dying in the first place. And then people are just very, very tricky and very actually shitty and evil. Should we consider to see it that way, right? So, and then there is some good qualities that we have and some good qualities that we want to strive for, and we want to have good people around us. And so a lot of this stuff is the shit that needs to be discussed. It needs to not be taboo topic to be a better person, you know. It'd be kind of cool to just live in a good neighborhood and feel safe and be kind of rich and be kind of successful and have good relationship with your coworkers and your family and even your ops, because you can kind of empathize with them having a bad day when they flipped out on you, right? I don't know. But that was my partial solution to local homelessness. Yes, we need housing, but it's the nurturer behind the person administering the help. It's not very helpful. It's not very healing. If I were just to take a wad of fucking bandages and medicine and just you know throw it at your face and be like, figure this shit out. You're like, bro, I got shot. Like, that's the last thing I want to do, because now I'm offended. I got neosporin on my face, the bandage is on the floor and it's dirty, but at least you offered to help me, you know. It's like, no, we need some actual gentle people to be like, okay, let's introduce some of this healing to your life, homie, because you've been acting up for way too long. And so I think my book, I Am Phoenix, is, the Bible is cool. It has a lot of information, but it's so big, and it's a lot of old English, and I swear my devices, man. Yeah, and it's just a lot of English, and you need some pastor to interpret it for you. My book is my experience, why I think I've considered being a piece of shit, and at my lowest I feel like God met me and he was like, but I have good plans for you. Honestly, like, you could do this and get forgotten under a rock, or I could have plans with you and we could live a good life. And so I was like, you know what, that sounds kind of scary, but let's consider it. And so yes, it is scary to do this Christian stuff sometimes. Community hubs. Each village will include a shared space for meals, hygiene, recreation, and services. Right? Have their own little spaces, but then the idea is for them to congest, and the showers will have to be figured out, the nuisance of all of that. But just people have to be around people, right? Homeless people, what you're gonna do is try to isolate them and be like, you guys can't congregate over here. Well, give them a direction of discussion, have some resources, have some good conversation and trust happening beforehand, so that it's not the drug addicts versus the staff. It's everybody trying to figure out how to heal this group of people, so that those healed people can go out and the healing could multiply. And healing sounds like a corny word, but I'm also kind of doing the Christian solution thing, right? So healing is very important. This society is very sick. We're very criminal. We're very evil. We're very selfish. We're very short term thinking. And we're completely ignorant to sometimes even logic, right? Skill building and employment. These villages will help and provide training in trade skills, entrepreneurship, and community services. I think job training is cool, but job training is very limited. I think what we need to offer these people is entrepreneurship skills, right? They kind of been living on the street, so they kind of have a little hustler ways about them. But what if we tell them that you can get a product for a price, put your price on it, and then you can sell it for more? What if we can tell them that you can design t-shirts? What if we can tell them that you can build online courses? You can start a marketing company. You can go into other businesses and offer solutions and help promote and sell their products. It's just something that you can do. It's not just work really hard as a dishwasher and then get your shit together, because realistically it's not a good way to go from being homeless to an abundant life, right? You don't take small tiny individual steps. It's at close to the last step in social life that people give up, and they're like, you know what, I don't want to go suffer and get paid nothing and then still not be able to pay my rent or have some good food, right? So at some point, we got to teach these people some more valuable skills, including communication and problem solving and better ways of thinking and morality and healing and genuine honesty instead of shisty behavior, right? So these people need a redirection. They need hope. So because you have to wrap healing in a nurturing type of blanket. You can't just throw a wad of cash at a motherfucker. Well, you could, but he'll get pissed, right? Because he'll be like, "Oh, you told me to go heal with this money, but you pissed me off, so I'm about to go do meth and rob your house." So, or throw me some more as a way to apologize. This discipleship and leadership. Every site is spiritually overseen by a locally approved pastoral team to provide support and accountability. Dangerous, right? Some of these pastors are kind of snakes and then put snakes in charge of needy people. But if we have a team and accountability is a topic and healing and genuine love and transparency, and that could actually work. Our mission is to offer a hand up, not a handout. These villages are places of accountability, transformation, and empowerment, not dependency. We will separate those willing to change from those resistant to growth, right? Not everybody needs help. I mean, they're in need of help, right? They look like they're suffering, but not everybody wants help. Some people are just enjoying the funk. Equip presidents to rebuild their lives through job training and community responsibility and Christian mentorship. Provide opportunities for residents to give back and eventually lead within their own community. The goal is to raise leaders. The goal is not to have followers or instruction takers, because as soon as you're taking a weekend, as soon as you're on vacation, motherfuckers still need instructions or savings or you to figure out their problems and stuff. No, the goal is to raise up some independent, strong people so that they can raise some independent, strong adults who can not only defend their values but take pride in growing their homeland and protecting it, right? So far, we're just too far deranged. We've lost all sorts of sense of patriotism. We lost our senses of having a family and being a family unit, how to forgive and how to compromise and how to be friendly and not be a complete cunt of a person, right? At the heart of this vision is the message of Jesus Christ, not forced but lived. We believe the real transformation comes from love, peace, purpose, and the knowledge that every person is valuable. My book, I Am Phoenix, is a great book on personal transformation and will be made freely available to residents, right? So I'm thinking of this solution thoroughly. Should a schmuck come in and be like, oh, I have this idea, let me just pump my own propaganda? Well, it will wither and die, because you have to proceed with love. You have to proceed with a sense of purpose and the need to heal instead of I have a job. I'm in charge of fucking 28 people that have no fucking clue what they want out of life, right? So or these bums, these homeless crackheads, right? So we could be all sorts of derogatory with this. However, we're attempting at a solution. We're trying to figure something out so that I don't know, to ease the discomfort of our fellow people. You know, not everybody has the ability to think freely. I think we can all think, and we forget that we're free beings, especially in America. But some people just have resigned from trying to find a solution altogether. They see somebody else trying, and they're like, "Oh, somebody's on it, and it's not working. Okay, let me just resume my TV show." Well, the Christian stuff says, "Can't be too relaxed, homie. There's work to do." And so that's why God hired me. He said, "Look, everybody else is not doing shit. I mean, we're trying, right? But some of this has to be discussed. Some of this has to be pushed." And so I usually try to get the job done. I don't know. It's not done, but I'm reintroducing it again because some people are actually watching it, and this could be a thing, you know, a cool way to spend some money by helping other people. That sounds kind of fun. Artificial intelligence can help this mission become scalable and effective. I know we hate AI and all of that, but we can predict when a person is on the verge of becoming homeless and opt for early intervention. We can match people with programs and mentors. Have it be available on your device, right? Troubleshooting or resources near me or a way to get spotted $2,000 by some fund, you know, um, and this and that. So we can have so many creative solutions. Power 24/7 virtual assistant for housing, placement, employment help, and emotional support, right? If we have a script and a robot who is tasked with trying to talk people off the edge when they feel like at the rock bottom, that might be very helpful, right? Should people know that such generous help and healing is available and on your device, available 24/7, but they will talk you through it and they will help you. I think that would be a better use of AI, right? And then with AI, we can map out these little mini communities. We can be like, okay, I have a scrap of dump trucks, one ferry, and two airplanes, and a lot of rubber. Let's build a mini city, right? Bloop, 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 bloop. Design it, connect it with the rubber. It's all this and that. Bug proof it, put a generator, self-sustainable type of power source in there, and then lo and behold, it becomes like a beautiful place to live for people to come in and be rehabilitated. Rehabilitated is such a nasty word. It's overplayed, and people have collected a lot of money off trying to rehabilitate some sick people. Each village of hope will include eco shelters, affordable, safe, and sustainable living units, activity hubs, showers, meals, community gardens, and mentorship spaces, resource center for education, recovery support, and employment navigation, and pastoral oversight, a spirit-led guidance, and leadership with built-in accountability clause, right? Poor leadership will cause this place to close. Just like any business, should you run it bad for too long, you're going to be out of business. Should you run a city into the ground, the city will be into the ground. Should the programs that are in government support, not fulfill their obligations, and not actually be part of the solution, then they get no funding, right? It's just how it works. Should you not take care of your body, it will not be very healthy. It will not be, at some point, it will just stop being usable, right? Should you not use your brain, at some point, it's not usable. Same thing with these charity cases, right? At some point, new batch of people come in and they have their own motives and they have their own tricks and wants, right? And so they put their own spin on things and they try to get their own wishes out of a good thing that benefits a lot of people. And so the thing is, poor leadership will cause this place to close. That should be a thing. And so for this, I think it's mandatory, because you might have some rough tenants, yes, but if you have good leadership, then you can turn them around. You can replace the problematic ones to keep everybody else safe, but just you can change people. You can actually change people by giving them the opportunity to change and showing them better ways. So boom 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 needs to be land near water or nature for therapeutic benefit, while maintaining proximity to public transit and resources. Yeah, we want to build a mini haven. It's not like the homeless don't deserve it, because nobody deserves free help like that. But it's the fact that it's 2026 and we're so advanced on all levels, but the human heart, the human condition, right? We just are so blind and numb to each other's suffering. And let's just let's just make leaps and bounds in the qualities of life by actually participating and helping each other live a good life. So if you're a helpful, optimistic builder type of person, I don't think you have a bad life. So, and then the more people that you help make happy, the more people you help, the happier you feel. It's just how that works. Somehow, giving multiplies whatever the hell you have. Somehow. I don't know how that works. And then I also stopped giving and now I don't have anything. So, let me reintroduce this homeless solution. 42 fucking minutes long. Let's see what else. Oh, let me start this article. That was just the outline. As a founder of lxmnv.com, a Seattle business publication dedicated to promoting innovative ideas and community development, I'm excited to present a unique solution to address poverty and homelessness in our own city. Shit, it's an idea, right? I have to break up this video into very many videos. So, maybe. All right, thank you for watching.